Welcome back, YouTube, to more MSQ playthrough. We are chilling in Dawntrail, and we are continuing story. Let's go ahead and pop into it. Well, where are these bandits? Apparently, they're not foolish enough to attack a party of this size. Earthlandshire is just a little farther ahead, on the opposite bank of Maya Quebec Soma. But let's remain vigilant all the same. I see an Aether Current. Let's grab that. Oh, and then we're going even further west to the next Aetherite. Big iguana, big lizard, big chameleon. It's a chameleon. It's called an iguana, but it's a chameleon. Whoa, what is this? This looks crazy. Oh, was this broken by the storm? It looks... No. Those are like placed there. Okay. These are the moblins. This is it. The village where the lay of pots from the Dawntrail saga took place. Earthlandshire, Idleshire. Might this similarity be a cultural inclination, I wonder? The settlements themselves couldn't be more different, though. This shire appears custom-built to resemble pots, while the other is a repurposed town. Oh, welcome to Earthlandshire. Do I have the pleasure of happy greeting the third promise and her retinue? That's us. We're looking for the Dawn Servant Elector, if you happen to know who that is. You are exchanging tongue flaps with her right now. Ridderrock is the Elector you seek. Oh, that's helpful. We can cut straight to performing the feat. As much as Ridderrock would like to do just that, we have a much more pressing worry. The storm which hit our village shattered the cliffs and dropped rocks on our brain cases. Many help hands for the Potsworn were injured. This is no time for feats or metal tests. I'm sorry to hear that. After learning what the storm did to the stairs, I feared you'd been caught in its path. Not to change the subject, but what are the Potsworn? Goldsmiths contracted to work for the Moblins. The word comes from the pot-like workshops where they practice their craft. The Moblins provide these Potsworns with tools, materials, living quarters, everything their artisans could possibly need. This allows them to concentrate on producing what is widely known as the finest gold and metalwork in Turao. This is unacceptable. I was promised no distractions. If this is the best they can offer, I should have never left Wakumeke. You see? The pots won't desert us. Without enough healthy health hounds, we are failing to uphold our side of the pot pact. Should all our Potsworn leave, Earthlandshire will grind to a halt. We have to do something and do it soon. Then let us stand in for the injured helpers. It would give me the chance to learn more about your people and your village, and if it brings us closer to beginning the feat, then all the better. This isn't strictly part of the contest, so don't feel obligated to join in. Take a rest while you can. Of course I'll help. I was hoping you'd say that. I actually wasn't sure I could do this on my own. We'll all help. I doubt any of us could just sit around and watch. We'll take every help hand we can get. Ridderrock Trust swears that once the Potsworn have their perfect workshops again, we will commence the feat with all haste. You and the third promise can assist help hand Rakarok. You other four, follow Ridderrock. There are other help hands in need of hand lending. I really appreciate you pitching in. I meant what I said at many fires. There'll be no more feigning strength. No more playing at being an invincible promise. If there's one thing I've learned on this journey, it's how practiced you are at aiding those in need. I mean to make the most of having such an incredible mentor at my side. Now, let's find this Rakarok fellow and see what we can do for him. Oh, Aetheryte first. Before I forget. Oh, Ragnarok can't meet his obligations without more help hands. The pot pack is broken and the pots are empty. You've come to aid Ragnarok? Ragnarok accepts your hand lending with joyous feel smiles. If we can offer the Potsworn their promised good living, we might save the day yet. Whatever you need. What do we get? We got a weapon coffer. Let's go ahead and pop that open. I'm gonna pop the rest of these open too. Got some boots and gloves. Oh, interesting. We look very different. This is definitely a Pagglethorn reskin, but we'll do it. We'll take it. Oh, what Ragnarok needs for his new help hands to create good living for Potsworn Kahe. Help hand assigned to Kahe was hurt during the rock rain, so Ragnarok took over, but he knows nothing of Kahe. What does Kahe want? What does Kahe need? Help hands do not bother the Potsworn with straight tasks. Our job is to observe and anticipate, to prepare things with guest think. Please guest think with Ragnarok. We'll find out what Kahe is lacking so we can provide it. You can count on us. This is where Kahe works, is it? Let's take a peek inside then. Must be Kahe. It'd be a lot quicker if we could just talk to him, but that's not the way they do things around here, apparently. We'll have to leave him be and try out our hand at some guest think. Alright, let's do some guest thinking. Some crafting materials. Well, he has no shortage of crafting materials. There must be something else he's missing. He's barely touched his meal. That dish is meant to be eaten hot, or it loses its savor. It must be boiling sitting so close to the furnace, and there's no airflow to speak of. How could anyone work in that stifling heat? Those tools are looking pretty worn down. Maybe it's time for some new ones. Alright, after taking a good look, I think I have an idea of what things Kahe might want to improve his working conditions. Let's head back outside and talk to Ragnarok. Cool, you made your observations. What did you guess think? First off, I noticed Kaie hasn't touched his food, and an empty belly can't be good for his concentration. Maybe the cooking isn't to his liking. But our food is very mouth-pleasing. Why wouldn't he want to eat it? But Kakarot is... Kakarot. Whoa, Dragon Ball Z. But Rakarok is sure of nothing when it comes to Kaie's tastes. I can help you with that. My brother Kona is also a head sorrow, and while everyone has their personal preferences, there are some they tend to share. Like an aversion to piping hot dishes. If it was brought to him like that, Kaie probably wouldn't have been able to eat it until it cooled down, and by the time he came back to it, it might have found it cold and unappetizing. The simplest solution is to serve dishes that taste good no matter the temperature. Rakarok would never have thought of that. Would the third promise mind explaining these things to our cook? Not at all. But I don't think that was the only reason Kaie couldn't concentrate. The head sorrow homeland is hot and dry, but even Kaie seemed to be suffering in front of that furnace. Is there any way you could cool down the workshop? Oh, we could try a drafty shard. They make a lovely breeze. Do you know where we can get one of those? You can gather them from the shores of no return, but there are many old boats there abandoned by those who gave up on their search for the Golden City. So we salvage them from the wrecks. Could you handle that for us, MSQ? Oh, and one more thing. From what I could tell, Kaie's files and saws and things were very worn down. Maybe a new set of tools is in order. Rakarok was too preoccupied with stocking materials, a serious oversight which he will rectify. Supplying good tools for good living is a help hand's responsibility. Then we all have work to do. We can meet back here when our tasks are done. The shores of no return are past the crags, through a tunnel southeast of here. You should be able to spot the passage from just outside the village. There's Redarok with a K and Redarok with a Q. That monster over there reminds me of a Pokemon. You're MSQ, aren't you? What brings you out here? The issue with caring for the Potsworn. When they approached me with that same problem, I suggested they commission artisans in Charlene instead. The quality of craftsmanship would be guaranteed after all. However, the Moblets did not care for the idea. Surely it would be more effective to engage a uniformly trained collective. I cannot understand their fixation on individual contracts. Perhaps the custom will make more sense once we begin the feat of pots. Until then, we've been deemed unfit to assist in the matter of help hands and are instead tasked with tending the injured. We were on our way back from procuring herbs for Yonje, in fact. Settlements in Kozumaoka, too, have been isolated by the storm's destruction. What would have become of the wounded had we not found a way here? Should I become Dawn Servant, one of my first acts will be to establish reliable trade routes to the capital. When I imagine how much good we can achieve with Charlian technology. My apologies. I have much to consider. If you will excuse us. We'll meet again soon, I'm sure. Take care. You spot the tunnel opening, head through the passage to the shoals of no return and recover the drafty shard. Chameleons! How far is this? This is just one big cave? Oh. Kinda. Oh, there's an aether current. How good. Oh, and then broken down boats. The crystalline shard is faintly warm to the touch. It does not appear to be the wind crystal you seek. Maybe the blue one over here? The crystalline shard feels damp in your hand. It does not appear to be the wind crystal you seek. Okay, so then we're looking for green, maybe? The crystalline shard emanates a soothing whisper of wind. It seems you found the crystal Rakarok sent you to salvage. And then I think we're just gonna be lazy. Teleport. God, is that a cool breeze Rakarok feels? Oh no, oh no, That's an oopsie poopsie on my part. So I was literally just thinking about, in my brain, I was thinking about how I'm gonna do all of this on my main. But on my main, I just skip everything. In all of my recording up until this point, Realm Reborn, Heaven's Ward, Stormblood, Shadowbringers, and Walker. Up to this point, I have not skipped a single cutscene. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to myself more than anything. I don't. At least I'll make it up to myself when I do this on my main. I won't skip it. Is what I'll do. That. Sorry in advance. I'm sure. I'm sure according to how this has been going, it was just a small cutscene showing that we gave the rock to Rakarok. And because as you can see, the rock is here now and it's probably cooled down. Kahe isn't sweating anymore, and it probably just showed that. Let's see. They'll give us the summary. Rakarok is very grateful to you. I thank you both for your hard work and clever guessing. When it comes to help handing, knowing the pots one really is important. Well, that's true for pretty much everyone you meet. It's a lesson I've had drummed into me several times already on this journey. There you go. We didn't miss too much. Trying to feel less bad. The Elector bids the claimants assemble in the large building on the west side of the village. I will head over after finding Thancred and Urianger. I also ran into the Louvier twins on the way here. I took the liberty of directing them to the venue. Oh, thanks, Kona. Was nice of him. We're rivals. It's not his job to make sure I know the feat is starting, but even now he's conscientious to a fault. Anyway, let's not keep Red Rock waiting. Oh, Red Rock, Rakarok. Red Rock. There's two different names. Sound the same, but different. Red Rock thanks for assisting Helphand Rakarok. She will announce the feat once the other claimants arrive, so please be patient a little while longer. Happy to report that we were able to convince one of the pots one to stay. How did you fare? So you managed to do the same. Splendid. Welcome to Earthenshire, First Promise. We support your plans for salt crossings and the new potsworn they will bring. Hail the mighty Zoral. He cleared many piles of rockfall as if they were pebblestones, the resilient son for Dawn Servant. Zoral was clearing fallen rocks. I'm surprised he could volunteer his time for anything unrelated to the contest. Well, we meet again. Just in time for the feat to begin. I'll bet he was already here, laying low while the rest of us did all the work. Claimants, your attention, please. As Red Rock has explained, many of our potsworn left us following the storm. The precious metalwork crafted by those artisans bring in much jingly shine from across the salt. Should our stream of trade goods dry up, Earthenshire will suffer. Tulialal merchants will suffer. So Red Rock sets you this feat. Each of you are to find one Cleverhand goldsmith to bring back here to us. So we're to recruit new potsworn. Makes sense for the feat of pots. Calling this a feat does not justify taking advantage of the claimants and their influence. How does finding workers for you demonstrate their worthiness for the throne? You are free to refuse Red Rock's request. She will be happy to inform the Dawn Servant of Zoral's disqualification. Yeah, talk that shit. The rite is a means to an end. The steps we take to get there are not important. Then Red Rock declares the feat of pots begun, but remember, a pot pact must be agreed to willingly. No grab snatching or deceitful tongue flaps. The Elector said nothing of taking a willing artisan from a rival. Which is exactly what— oh my god, you're so annoying. I'm not voicing your lines, you're trash. You don't deserve lines, you're trash. The nasty brute is up to something. Aye, he may seek to delay us again as he did on the river. We can but remain vigilant while we plot our course. What do you think, Wilclamot? Have you any candidates in mind to satisfy this feat? I do. No. Gente, no. The one that we just spoke to. In, Turiolal. I don't remember the Jean Fontaine or something like that. I know some artisans amongst my supporters, but they're all in their twilight years. I couldn't ask them to give up their comforts of Tuliolal to live in this remote village, no matter how beautiful the scenery. Meanwhile, Kona probably has 100 young craftspeople to choose from. Not that I'm comparing us, you understand. That's just a statement of fact. I suppose we could try asking around Wakomeki Miki. That seems a logical place to start. Back to Tuliolal. Back to Tuliolal it is. Yeah, that is. I just can't get that. Wait, does that mean we have to take the boat again? No, no, no. I can't do it. I can't stomach another boat ride. You said I should share my burden, so I will speak plainly. The truth is, I get really, really sick on boats. Wuklamat, this is hardly news. But it was brave of you to admit. In any case, we won't be fighting the current this time. Heading downriver will much be smoother. Will, are you sure? I'm positive, mostly. need a moment. Upriver or downriver, Uikatamu is too rough for me. Nausea is a bit more bearable now that I've stopped trying to hide it, but I'd still rather not set foot on a boat if I can help it. Alright, I think I'm ready. Let's see if Master Ropley can help us recruit a potsworn. Greetings, Third Promise. What brings you back to Wakumeki Meki? You've not chipped your axe again, have you? No, Master Ropley. Actually, I have a favor to ask. So what do you think? Do you know of any craftsmen who might be interested? Filching my artisans for the moblins, eh? Well, seeing as it's the Third Promise making the request, I'm willing to look the other way if one of them decides to take you up on the offer. Only, I can't think of a suitable candidate off the top of my head. Who do I know with a mastery of goldsmithing that would also have no qualms about relocating to Earthenshire? The Orsian goldsmith, what about him? You mean Fontaine? He did say he was employed at some fancy jewelry store across the salt, and considering the distance he's already come, I'd like to think he wouldn't mind moving up a little on the river. That said, he only just got himself a new job. Is it too soon to ask him to sign a pot pact? There's no harm in making the offer. Once he hears how well the potsworn are treated, he may even jump at the chance. Either way, you won't find Fontaine at his workbench at this hour. He's finished for the day. Probably enjoying a meal over at Zablalive Thai. A little better. Then maybe we could go and talk to him. Just you and me, since he knows us. Wouldn't want him to feel intimidated by having to deal with a crowd of new faces. The two of us can handle this. Take a rest at the cabins if you like. Let's go and see a man about a pot. Oh, MSQ here too. But Promise said she wanted to chat. I've just finished eating, so shall we find a quiet spot outside? The last time we talked on this beach, you were in a miserable state. Yes, I was, wasn't I? A lost soul, until the two of you came along and helped me rediscover my purpose. My new place of employment has been most welcoming, and for the first time in a long time I feel content with my lot in life. That's wonderful. So, what is it you wish to discuss? Well, it's hard to ask this right after you've settled in, but I'm looking for someone to become a potsworn. I've heard my new colleagues mention the term. That's when an artisan signs a contract to work for the Moblins, isn't it? But you're not a Moblin. I'm not sure I understand. It's 4 feet in the right of succession. I need to bring a new potsworn to Earthenshire. So that is the way of it. We've barely met, and after pushing you to work at Wakumeki Meki, I'm now demanding you throw that away and sign a pod pack instead. It's a selfish request, I know. I have something to tell you, Third Promise. The other day I completed the necessary procedures for immigration. I am pleased to say I am now an official subject of Tuliolal. I did that pretty good. I've since endeavored to learn what I can of my new nation, beginning with the right of succession and its claimants, including you, of course. Now, you will recall it was my father's example which led me to pursue goldsmithing. It was at East End when Garlean forces laid siege to the settlement, and in the ensuing chaos he was slain. War took him from me in an instant, the man I loved and admired. I never wish to suffer such a loss again. And so, as much as I'm indebted to you for turning my life around, it is as a fellow peace-loving Tololian that I did that pretty good, want you to win the throne. If I can help you achieve that by signing a pod pact, then I shall gladly do so. Argentine, thank you. I shall return to Master Robley and inform him of my decision. Allow me. I'm the reason you're leaving, so I should be the one to deliver the news. Perhaps you remember me. Brukevu, owner of Zabalialtai? I'd like a word if you don't mind. You're Wuklumat's ally from across the salt, right? And a hero of some renown too, if the gossip's to be believed. Well, as it so happens, I could use some heroic help. It doesn't need to be right now, but could you come by when you have a spare moment? Much appreciated. I'll be waiting for you at my shop then. You can now gain access to role quests. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah, baby. I need those for my main to get my crown. Sorry. Excited because I wasn't sure how far into the story the role quests were. This is actually fairly. This is like not that far into it because in Shadowbringers it was pretty far in. I was wondering when you'd be along. Not a moment too soon either. I've got an urgent job that needs doing, and there's no one else I'd entrust with it. Of course, you'll be wanting to know the details. It's a long story, so why don't you grab a seat over there? I'll join you shortly. Now that we're all settled, allow me to introduce myself properly. I'm Brook Ivu, proprietor of Zabaliavtai. As you know, my establishment is open to anyone. People hailing from across Tural, and sometimes further, come here to whet their appetite and slake their thirst. Given how we turn no one away, it's inevitable that a few bad apples might mix into my motley patrons, and therein lies the rub. Particularly rotten bunch was here not long ago. Sitting just over there, in fact, and having a conversation most foul. Thank you all for coming here, so far from your respective homes. There's a Mamet. As this is the first time we have all gathered in one place, perhaps formal introductions are in order. I am... Welcome. What will you be having? Could we have a moment, please? We are in the middle of something very important. Now then, where was I? Oh yes. I am Apyahi. If you are sitting here now, it is because I have personally invited you to the Passage of the Unbound, my secretive, villainous order with ambitions to sow discord throughout the world. Villains do not often call themselves such. Nor do secret orders have their meetings in places where all eyes can see. What do you know? Your snide remarks only ruin my carefully constructed atmosphere. If I had time to think of a suitable slogan, you would understand that words are everything. But I digress. I invited you all here for one reason: to throw the world into a mire of chaos and then watch its nations crumble. What else would we call ourselves if not villainous? My only interest is to punish all who've dared to mock and belittle me. So long as I can achieve that, you can call me whatever you like. The rich, the powerful, the mighty, all shall be crushed under the weight of my ire. Grand design for a group of 6. Even if we manage to muster others to our side, there's a limit to what we can accomplish. I regret to say you are right. At present we are bound and powerless. That is why, in order to raise our fists against oppressors, we must find the strength to shatter our shackles. And in so doing, we shall become unbound. Like the birds soaring up above, we shall take flight and spread our wicked wings, staining the azure skies black. But sometimes skies become treacherous with clouds, and even birds must rest. You speak of finding strength. Is that why we are here? To look for it? If so, then I pledge my aid. With newfound might at my beck and call, I shall win adoration only known by a hero. Your eagerness is heartening, and you are correct. The tools to make our goal a reality lay in Toral. Across this continent can be found certain artifacts which possess untold power. Did you say artifacts? Oh, I sense an adventurous hunt for instruments of devious devilry ahead. My imagination is overflowing with images of the new forms my trickery might take. Dare say the world is not ready. Yes, well, to get to the heart of the matter, the objects are held by the disparate tribes which make their homes in the Toral continent, where they have been passed down through generations as sacred treasures. Whatever stories these people have attached to their so-called treasures matters not. Each contain the essence of fearsome beasts called Toral Vidral, and with them in our possession, none shall be able to stand against us. We shall take the objects for ourselves, bring them across the sea, and use them to undermine nations far and wide. The means by which you each choose to do so, I leave in your hands. I only ask that you do not disappoint. I take it there are no questions. Then let the passage of the Unbound open into the world. We begin at once. They didn't order a single thing. That's the long and short of it. What do you think? They might lack discretion, but they seem formidable nonetheless. Of course, we had a duty to report what we had heard to the Landsguard. We did, but it didn't make a damn difference because soon we learned those unwelcome guests had teeth. Not long ago, one individual from a remote tribe came here seeking help recovering a stolen relic. Then another came with the same story, then another, and so on. By the time we realized the passage of the Unbound was a real threat, they had won and all made their way across the sea with their ill-gotten gains. Each tribe has sent one of their own to recover what was lost, but being in strange lands, they're at a disadvantage. That's why I've been looking for someone who knows every corner of Eorzea and beyond. Now, I know you've business in Turao, or else you wouldn't be here in the first place. But if you could take the time to hear Raul Majun out, you'd be doing a service to many who could really use a helping hand. My nose is so itchy. Interesting this little plot that we've got going on. I wasn't sure if we should do role quests alongside MSQ, but we're gonna. This is very interesting. We need a little bit of more mystery alongside our vacational rite of succession. Greetings. Allow me to thank you personally for lending your assistance in this matter. We've been quite desperate for someone suitable. Greetings, Raul Majun. At the risk of becoming a daily nuisance, I must ask, have there been any developments you might share? A nuisance? Why, I perish at the thought. You've come just in time, in fact. None other but the vaunted MSQ has agreed to aid the search. Sheesh. Finally, a fortunate turn. So long as our sacred treasures are in wicked hands, our home shall know no peace. To say nothing of the danger they pose to the other nations. If these thieves really do intend to stir up chaos across the seas, then you had better depart on the next ship. But before you do, it might be proper to introduce you to those who have come to Tuliaga in search of aid. Lozaneque, there comes from a village far to the north. A single warrior cannot hope to withstand the power of her tribe's relic, so she requires a stout protector, someone that can be leaned upon when times are darkest. The room that Nupian must recover inflicts terrible maladies upon its victims. He seeks someone who commands great healing magics to counteract this effect. The search for Sheshepia's tribal treasure has been entrusted to a peerless hunter. She requires someone to act as a frontline fighter who can distract her target while her bow takes deadly aim. And lastly, there is Tsuhi, who knows little about her people's ancient artifact, aside that it must not fall into the wrong hands. She seeks a mage of great power, but anything beyond that lies shrouded in mystery. Aren't you forgetting someone, Rarulja? Your crisis is just as pressing, even if you won't say so yourself. Rarulja hails from further south than even Mamuk, and has traveled many days and nights in search of someone who can strike down their prey from afar. It's the only way to escape the effect of this village's treasure. Did I get that right? Indeed. I do get so forgetful in my old age. Thank you, Raul Majun. Excuse me? Excuse me? Oh, yes. Okay. For a second, I thought he was talking to himself. He was talking to her. 5 tribes, 5 stolen treasures. All are waiting for the aid of a brave soul. Hopefully that can be you. Of course, I'll share all that I know on the matter. You need only ask, and know that I will not hold it against you should you choose to assist only those for whom your talents are best suited. So long as you do what you can, the people of Toral, and maybe even further, will be in your debt. For a second, I was thinking we would be helping the tank role quest, but we're on Viper, so we're actually going to be helping the Shepya DPS. Hello there. I take it you've spoken with Brook Ivu, willing to lend a hand. I am truly grateful. Then allow me to introduce myself. I am Sheshepya, and I have traveled far from my village in the forests of Zaktural in search of a brave soul to help us retrieve our stolen treasure. For generations have my people watched over the Dreamweave cocoon, the vessel in which the power of the Swallowtail Tural Vidrau is sealed. Before its ascension, the Swallowtail warded off would-be predators by assuming the form of threatening butterflies, poisonous ones and the like, through its skill at mimicry. So it survived day after day, summer after summer, until the dawn of its great new existence. It became capable of taking on the form of any creature which crossed its path. This fearsome power was sealed within the cocoon, and any who possess it command the self-same abilities. Indeed, the wielder too may assume the form of any manner of beast or man they've beheld. Yet this mimicry is not limited to merely physical forms. No, the wielder may replicate the talents and abilities of their target, so long as such actions fall within their ken, that is. In an instant they become a master of the hunt, a twin blade wielding viper, or a savage brax with claws and fangs to gut whomsoever they please. It is this power which has protected my village from the predators of the forest, for through it grants many boons. The forest contains threats in equal measure. By donning the skins of its most formidable beasts, we have kept ourselves safe for generations. Without the cocoon, my village's very survival is at risk. That is why we have sent our foremost hunter, Itoka, to ensure it is reclaimed. She has never failed to capture her quarry, so I thought she would make a short work of this ordeal. Yet there has been no word from her. I fear this may be a hunt she cannot undertake alone. It is for that reason I wish to enlist the aid of one familiar with the lay of the land beyond the Great Sea, and one whose prowess in close quarters would complement her expertise with the bow. One of the villagers ran into the thief before he fled and said he intended to use the cocoon's power in Kugane, which I understand is the name of a large settlement located far, far to the east. Please, for the sake of my home, set out for this eastern habitation and assist Itoka with retrieving the cocoon. Leave it to me. We're going to Kugane for a Tarali? Wow. Your willingness to aid is most reassuring. You have my heartfelt thanks. Upon arriving in the eastern land, search for a Viera woman carrying a bow and dressed in similar attire to myself. If you visit a tavern like this one, I dare say you might find someone who has seen her. I'm not sure if we're going to be locked behind anything like as far as Tarali continent. I mean, if we're going to the east, then let's go ahead and head over. If we can complete this, let's do it. So a little bit of a derailment from our vacation, but let's go ahead and go. Oh, we're just going right over here. Nice to be back in Kugane. Oh, you know what? I just realized. Each of the people in that and that villainous group, each of them pertains to a city or city-state that you've been to in the past. I can think of maybe like there's a storm. There's for sure a Stormblood. There's an Endwalker. There's a Shadowbringer, and there's a Heaven's Ward, and then there's a Realm Reborn. The 5. No way. That's so cool. That's so cool. Okay, sorry. I love that. Welcome to the Shiokaze Hostelry. How may I serve you? You're searching for someone. As a matter of fact, I do distinctly remember seeing a Viera woman of that description earlier, but I'm afraid I could not tell you where she may be now. Alas, from Taral, was it? Sorry, can't help you. That reminds me, though. I heard Taral has its own local variety of spirits called mezcal. Been meaning to taste it myself for an age now, but you've no idea how hard it is to get one's hand on a bottle of it here. A Viera woman bearing a bow? Why yes, I do recall such a person. It was hard not to notice her, really, given how she was peering at every little thing. If she came from a distant lands to the west, no doubt Kugane is quite the unusual sight for her. With any luck, she'll still be where I saw her, in the vicinity of the Sekusugumi barracks. Hey, we still got it. We still got it. Sekusugumi. Look at us go. Can't be stopped by no Tulialalal. Tulialalal. That's for MSQ. I'm so hyper right now. For what? Blue quests everywhere. This city is simply too large for me to cover alone. Perhaps it's time I returned home. Itoka? Yes, I am she, and you are? I see. Shashepia always was a worrywart. Won't deny I appreciate the help, though. Ascertaining the whereabouts of the cocoon has been no easy task. I managed to secure room and board in this lodging after arriving in Kugane, and have been using it as a base to track down the thief ever since. I'll tell you all I know. According to an eyewitness from my village, the thief is a middle-aged Hurrian male. That's all we have to go on regarding his appearance. Yet, so long as he possesses the cocoon, he can be anyone and anything. An elderly woman tapsing along the street, a child throwing a ball, mayhap even the dog chasing after it. Truth be told, I was nigh at wit's end trying to find him. That is, until I discovered that a series of unusual squabbles had been occurring around the city. After investigating these incidents, I found one commonality. The instigator in each case invariably had no recollection of the incident, let alone of inciting it. What's more, eerie accounts have begun to circulate amongst the residents. Some folk claim they've somehow been seen in two places at once. Based on all this, I believe the thief's been using the Dreamweave cocoon to transform into innocence and spread discord throughout the city. Stands to reason we can find him by following the trail of chaos left in his wake, no? And yet, even should we apprehend him, in whatever form he's hidden himself within, there's nothing to stop him from feigning ignorance, besides a secret remedy, of course. The recipe for an elixir which can forcibly remove the cocoon's enchantment has been passed down in my village for emergencies like this. I made sure to prepare a few vials before making the voyage here. I need simply throw the solution at the suspect, and the cocoon's weave of mimicry will unfurl on the spot. That covers everything. Now, what say we see if there's any trouble afoot? The thief will undoubtedly not be far from it. Let me know when you're ready. We'll catch him together. Alrighty, and that's gonna do it for us in this one. We will definitely continue the search for... I forgot, what were they called? They were like the Unbound something. Trying to see what the name, what they were called. The Passage of the Unbound. The Passage of the Unbound. That's what they're called. All right, we'll catch you in the next one, guys. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I hope you take care.